Ja, herzlich willkommen hier in der Agentur Oberhafen, heute beim Podium Oberhafen. Und zwar geht es um Identität, es geht um Marken und es geht um Persönlichkeiten. Und Umgebung ist ein wesentlicher Teil von Identität. Und heute bei uns zu Gast ist Matt Paull, ein Musiker aus Neuseeland. Und Matt hat Musik studiert, spielt Klavier, spielt Keyboard, spielt Schlagzeug, er spielt Gitarre und er singt. Thanks for being here, Matt Paull. Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. So Matt, you moved from New Zealand to Berlin. You left all your friends and families behind to work as a professional musician in a foreign country, and you became quite successful. What was the main reason for this bold step, and how did it affect you?
Well, I think I could say the main reason was simply wanting to earn a living from performing music. There are different ways of earning a living from music, but performing is one of the things I love to do the most, and I think you have to kind of move somewhere that's got the most opportunity to do that. There are other options, outside of Berlin, London, LA, New York, things like that. But I think Berlin is quite a nice place for people from other countries and things like that. There's a lot of different identities here and different musics and things like that. And the way it affected me, I think it's just been such an experience to kind of move to the other side of the world and kind of stand on your own 2 feet for the first time, because I don't know, when you kind of leave your family and things like that, such a long way away, it kind of forces you to start thinking on your own, doing your own things, and really thinking of yourself as an individual.
So it was like more transition from...
Yeah, I think so, and especially, at the age that I did it, 4 years ago, I suppose, I was 21, 22. It's kind of that age where maybe I'm leaving the comfort of university and, the comforts of just studying every day and just having exams to do and things like that, leaving that and kind of being like, okay, I have to actually earn money now, I have to figure out a way to earn money, figure out what it is that I have to offer.
Okay, so like the Americans say, man up.
You could say that,
Okay, for sure. So, the second question. Did Berlin or Germany influence you as a musician, artist? And if yes, how?
Absolutely, yeah. In Germany, I've only lived in Berlin. I've traveled quite a lot around Germany, but so I can only speak for Berlin, but here, it's an amazing place to be a musician. It's an amazing place to kind of dip your toes into anything, to be honest, but music in particular, there's just so many different musicians that come here. There's lots of clubs, there's lots of places where you can play your music and meet a lot of people. So for that, it really influenced me. And there are certain musicians that, or certain genres and things that I wouldn't have seen myself kind of getting involved in before. And now I've done a lot of things. I've done German rap groups. I've done like a glam rock musical here. All sorts of different things. Jazz groups, rock groups, indie, or all sorts of stuff like that.
German TV shows?
Yeah. When you want to earn a living from music, you really have to just be open to anything.
Okay.
I'm very lucky because my parents are musicians. They're more in the, they maybe play more of the rock kind of music, and but this kind of introduced me to a lot of different kind of music when I was younger. So even though I studied jazz music when I came here, I was more than happy to play any genre that I could get my hands on, honestly.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So that leads us to the third question. As a touring, recording and producing musician, you are used to traveling. Is traveling a way to find out who you are? And what does being a Kiwi mean after all these experiences?
Well,
that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
Yeah.
But I think, traveling kind of, or at least touring when you're playing music, it puts a lot of pressure on you as a human being.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of different touring here, and some is like hopping into a van and driving for 6 hours a day for 2 weeks to a different place, and that kind of thing can put a lot of pressure on a person. And I've also done the kind of nightliner thing, tour buses when you're sleeping on the bus in between shows, and I think these kind of things, at least for me, it really it tests me every time, because my colleagues will, maybe they watch this and they kind of laugh at this because they know that I'm quite a habitual person. I try to wake up every day at the same time, eat the same breakfast, the same lunch, and go to bed at the same time every day. So when I get thrown into the touring environment, it's like, everything all of a sudden is just up in the air, and you have to kind of roll with it.
Suddenly you became a gypsy.
Yeah, in a way. You have to, that's right. So it's kind of, you have to roll with it, really. And I've definitely gotten better at that through the years. Yeah. Absolutely. It's, and what you said about what it means to be a Kiwi, that's an interesting question. I've asked that to myself before, because I actually wasn't born in New Zealand. I was born in England.
In England?
Yeah, and my father is British, so I grew up there for 7 or 8 years, and then I moved to New Zealand until I moved here. So spent most of my life in New Zealand, and my mother is a Kiwi as well. So I've already got that kind of mix match thing. But I suppose being from New Zealand, it's probably one of the newest countries in the world, maybe, if you look back at world history, and I would say we're quite well known for our travelling. Kiwis love to travel, and I think that maybe comes out a little bit when I get the opportunity to tour, because I love visiting new places, I love eating new food, and experiencing new things. So I would say, there's no easy answer for what it means to be a Kiwi, but what I could say is that maybe coming from New Zealand gives me a little bit more energy to kind of go and travel and experience things. I have the hunger to do it.
Yeah. So I follow you on Facebook, and sometimes I read some comments on, say, topics from New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
I guess you're still a Kiwi, right?
I'm sorry about that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, well, at the moment it's kind of a difficult scenario, because with the virus and things like that, it's becoming more and more difficult to go home.
Okay.
And because in New Zealand there is this 2-week quarantine period where you have to stay in a hotel, and it's kind of going back and forth whether you have to pay for that yourself. Okay. And
I read that.
Yeah, and I'm of the opinion that I personally think you shouldn't in any way whatsoever have to be charged money to return to your country, but other people see it differently. I try to go home and see my family every year, see my family and friends, and but maybe that won't be possible this year, but we'll see. I'm just crossing my fingers.
Matt, thank you very much. Thanks for
being
being
here.
here.
You're welcome. Thank you.